Good evening, everyone. My name is Harsh, and welcome to episode number 11th of Let's Talk by What After College. Very quickly, can all you just write it down in the comment section from which part of the country and your college we are having our audience today, so that we can get an idea from where we are having our audience. Just write down your city and your college in the comment section. Okay. Kanpur, MP, Rajasthan, Bihar, Punjab. Okay, great. Mumbai, again Bihar, Coimbatore, Darbhanga, Rajasthan. Okay. Okay, so let me just very quickly tell you about what is the vision of about vision of what after college. So the vision of what after college is to eradicate unemployment for India by making youth job ready. What after college? It is a very common question in the minds of the students. To answer this question, whataftercollege.com has created a platform called Let's Talk. On Let's Talk, we invite industry dignitaries or individuals who come and share their journey, skills, or their experiences to our students so that they can learn, grow, and it can also help them in their counseling. We conduct Let's Talk webinar thrice a week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. These are the events that we'll be conducting this week. Today we have Mr. Prajjwal Sinha, who is co-founder of Amigos with us. These are the past week events that we have conducted, and these are some of the previous events that we have conducted so far. If you want to get a regular update from What After College, you can just hit the YouTube bell icon so that you can get a regular update whenever a new video comes up. Also, I'll share a link of a WhatsApp group in the comment section. You can also join that WhatsApp group to get the regular updates from Let's Talk. This webinar is sponsored by What After College Workshop Series. We conduct these workshop series every weekend. In these workshops, you will be get trained by industry experts. You can also build a roadmap for your career. You will be working on projects with those experts in these workshops, and also you will get a participation certificate for these workshops. You will also get a 50% discount for these workshops. How can you avail that discount? That I'll tell you at the end of the video. This is the certificate that you will be getting today after attending today's webinar. If you fill the feedback form, you will get the certificate. Okay, so today we have Mr. Prajjwal Sinha with us, who is co-founder of Amigos. He's an IIT Bangalore alumnus.
I am that.
He's a IIM Bangalore alumnus. He also developed a social learning management system by using learning management system with social network. He's also an entrepreneur at heart who likes to be free but busy. So today, Mr. Prajwal will be talking about what makes you a good engineer. So over to you, Prajwal. I hope you can take the session a bit from here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So hello everybody who is watching this video, and thanks for coming and attending it. Now, the topic that we have today is how to become a good engineer, and most of us know that a lot of people in the news you'd have heard that a lot of people are considered engineers are considered unemployable. Now we'll just go through all those things in this particular PPT that I'm going to share right now, and discuss all these things in detail. Also we'll try to figure out what the other 10% people are doing, right? Those who are considered employable, and how are they different from us, from the rest of us. So let me just share my screen. uh, yes, I believe that you are able to see the screen now, right? Hi
Yes,
Harsh, are you able to see the screen now?
yes, it is visible. Your screen is visible.
So let's start with the topic that we have. Now, before we start, let me tell you about myself. My name is Prajjwal, and I've worked. I started my career from TCS, where I just did my training from there, and then left it to join McAfee through an off-campus interview, and then McAfee was acquired by Intel, and I moved into Intel, and then in 2014 I left my job just because I wanted to learn. It was not about salary. It was not about for any money. I just wanted to stop everything and focus on what I could learn. Now, in 2016, I co-founded a company called Tinglado Softwares, which became, which got a turnover of close to 2 CR. And after that, in 2018, I created another company. I left the previous company and joined another, created another company, and that's what we are working on right now. This is the current company that I focus on is more of a product and a product-based company that we have, and I have done my management in entrepreneurship from IIM Bangalore. Currently, I'm in psychology from IGNU, remotely, because just because I wanted to learn, nothing specific. And I've done engineering from a small college in Bangalore, which is called GSS80. It's a very small college, so most of you would not even hear about it. But also, I never wanted to become an engineer. That's the most uncommon thing that you will hear from people. I never appeared for ITJ or AEEE or any other engineering exam. I appeared for a small college, for a exam for Karnataka, where I appeared for medical and engineering, and I somehow cleared cutoffs for both, but could not get any seat in medical. So, and people said that go and join. You're getting a decent college in engineering, just go and join. And for some reason, I actually followed that. I was preparing for medical. My whole engineering circle, my whole student circle is from the medical background. Now let's go ahead with the topic. Now, before when we call ourselves engineer, we have to understand the meaning of engineer. The word engineer, it comes from a Latin word called ingeniere, right? Which means to create, to generate, right? And there's another word called ingenium, which means cleverness. So people who apply their creativity and try to create something are what we can directly call engineers. Not everybody is an engineer just because they have a degree. Is not something. The problem is that we feel that our degree makes us an engineer, and that's not true, right? That's completely wrong, because it's your ability to create something that makes you an engineer, right? Your degree does not make you an engineer. Now, we have to understand that we have to ask ourselves whether we really are creating stuffs or not. Most of us, I was one of them, in fact, who did not want to become an engineer, and there are a lot of others who consider engineering just as a graduation degree. But then, if you are going to do something, just do it properly, right? That's what I actually told myself when I was into engineering. I wanted to leave it within the next 5 6 months, but then at a time when I felt that okay, there's no other way, I thought that let's focus on this and become a better engineer. If you are doing something, do it properly, otherwise there's no point, right? That's what I thought. Now, the strange thing is that we call ourselves engineers, right? But most of us even copy our engineering college projects, right? We try to buy it from somebody else, or lift a project directly from our seniors or somebody else from different college and try to show off, pass it off as our own projects. Now, this shows that we are not very serious about learning. We are not focusing on learning. We are focusing on marks and degrees, right? And that's the problem where that's the reason that uh, most of the engineers are not considered good. For most of us, salary is always greater than work quality, right? Most of us, if you were going to be offered a job at Amazon for 10.5 lakhs for a support engineer, where most of the jobs are like that there, right? But you're getting a job in a small company which offers you a core development opportunity. Which one would you choose? Most of the people that I have interacted with, even if they say that they will join the startup, they won't, right? If the salary is just 5.5 lakhs in the startup and about 10 lakhs in Amazon, they would definitely go and join Amazon because it's a bigger brand, because they would be happy to tell it to others that they are in a big company. While if they are in a small startup that no one knows of, they will feel that what people would think, right? That drives our decisions, right? It's not what that. And we also understand that there are a lot of things that you'll be able to learn and get a much better salary package later. But then at that point of time, people would always choose bigger companies, right? People I have seen people who have chosen TCS over a good startup, which was offering a little higher package as well, right? But brand was too high. If the salary was almost equal, they always went for TCS, big brands, where they know that the work qualities would not be good. And a startup, the work quality is always better than any other big company. But still, this is something that is driving our decisions. For most of us, marks is always greater than knowledge, right? The problem is that when we try to study something, we do not go into, we do not deep dive into that. We try to, learn. Engineers are mostly known for people who just study 3 days before the examination, right? And that's the biggest problem. And the problem is that we are proud of that, right? And we should not be proud of that at all, right? Yes, if you are studying only for marks, right, that's fine. 3 4 days is good enough. I've done myself, I've studied most of my days like that, only for exams. But the rest of the days, how you spend is very important. If you're spending it on playing games or watching movies, you're going to have a different output. At the end, life is an algorithm. What give as input, you get as output. There's nothing more than that, right? And obviously, just because of these reasons, there's no wonder that 90% of engineers are considered unemployable. There are various surveys on it, and that's something that we have also felt when we interview a lot of people. This is what we see, right? Uh, most of them are just wasting our time as an employer as well, right? I have interviewed a lot of people, not just here. I have interviewed people at Intel and McAfee, right? And there were people from good colleges, not just small colleges. I have seen people from IITs who were not really good enough, right? Just because they were able to clear an exam and they got really good marks, it did not make them a really good engineer. And then obviously there are, most of the people are in the difference is that in good colleges you'll find most of the people are good, right? Obviously there will be 10 20% who would not be very good, but then in other colleges you'll find that only 10 20% are really good. Others are not even up to the mark. They should not be given granted a degree as well, right? And this is my opinion on, you can actually differ, but then you look around and see whether you are you should be called an engineer or not, right? That's very important to reflect upon yourself and see. But what we have to focus on today in this webinar is that what are the who are the other 10%, right? People who are considered employable. What is it that they are doing differently which we are not doing, right? Or the rest of us, I'm including myself right now in the rest of the 90%, but we'll have to just go through it and see what is that the rest 10% are doing which we are not. And more importantly, how they're different, right? So they start with a why while learning anything. The thing is, when we try to learn anything, we just go through the syllabus and see that, okay, this is what we have to study. You just have to remember certain stuffs, and that's what you have to write in the exam, and that is it. Internals plus externals. Most of us are focusing on marks that we are going to get, right? And the people who are very different, they start with a why. If, for example, if people here, I'm from a computer science background, so let's say that you are being taught a topic, right? Let's say a very small, a very simple one. When we were first introduced to control instructions in programming, which was for loop, or a while loop or a do while loop, right? People who focus on why there are three different types of loops, right? And why do we need a loop, right? In the first place, right? Why can't we write, if you have to print from 1 to 100, why can't we write 100 times? And then if you focus on that, and then they figure out that this is the problem, right? And when they identify a problem and then they try to learn those stuffs later, they get a much better understanding. This is what all of us should be doing. The moment you read any paragraph, just think that why is this particular thing important, right? When you are introduced to any certain particular topic, you have to focus on that, right? And figure out what if that particular concept was not present, right? What if there was a formula, what would have happened if there was no Pythagoras theorem, right? Why do you need a Pythagoras theorem, right? What was the problem? And then when you study, you will relate to that problem and you learn in a much better way, in a much deeper way. That is what you have to focus on, right? And most of the times, these people who are in the 10%, most of the times have have hundreds and hundreds of doubts. though they may ask, right? They may choose not to ask. There are people who openly ask, and there are people who are shy and they don't ask a lot of doubts. But then these people have when they are listening to you, or when they are listening to a teacher, they constantly are thinking about that, and they get a lot of doubts, right? Which, I as a student, I was noting down all these doubts every single day. And then, when I mean, I did not want to ask my teachers any of those questions. Sometimes I used to, but if I was asking 10% of the questions from them, I had 90% of these doubts reserved with me. And which I knew that I will just go and read from the book, and try to get those doubts cleared. So also these 10% people are often perceived as confused. A lot of people who are listening to this, who are viewing this webinar uh, would relate to this, that a lot of people, many of you would have been called confused people from a lot of people, from others, right? And it's just because you have a lot of doubts, and you try to think about something from a different perspective, and then instead of concluding something right away, you have multiple point of views. And then you don't directly conclude. You say that, okay, there are a lot of other factors, and that's why probably this is the reason that we are looking at a particular thing, right? So don't worry about this, right? People who are considered confused are generally the people who are thinking a lot, and that's okay, right? Others opinion do not really matter when you are for anything that you are doing. Also, these people do not get, they do not study to get good marks, right? People who are good engineers, they do not study to get, just they do not just study to get good marks. Most of them are studying to learn, right? When I was studying, I remember that during a semester exams, I was never able to finish the whole syllabus. I mean, even when I started my preparation about 3 4 days ago, I would hardly go to my examinations with 2.5 units, right? But I knew that if these 2.5 units would constitute about 50 marks or 60 marks of the paper, I knew that nobody could take out these 60 marks from me. So I would always range in that particular, get around 60 65 marks. But that was only because I was able to cover only the 2 or 3 units during my syllabus, and I knew that if anybody would come and ask me about from anything from those 3 units, I'd be able to answer and learn to teach also. So when you study something, when you teach others the same thing, right, your classmates, you get a much better understanding, right? They also have simple answers for complex questions, right? If you are able to explain something very complex in very simple terms, in a very short way, you probably have a much better understanding of anything, right? Think of, when you're trying to I mean, just imagine that you're trying to explain something to somebody who is just in class 6th or 7th, right? How do you explain those things, right? So whenever you study a concept, read a chapter, you set, you stay away from, you close that chapter. The moment you close that chapter, you think about what you have learned and how simply you can actually try to explain to somebody else. That will give you much better understanding, right? Also, they study to learn things and deep dive into topics. When you study something, go deep into it, right? Do not just read fast and move to new chapters, or move to some other topic just because you have read enough to score good marks in that. A lot of people study during the exams, through sample papers, and that's very wrong at so many different levels. So do not do that, right? And they don't say, yeah. And this is my favorite thing that I have heard from a lot of people, right? When they see somebody who has scored a little higher than them, or when they look at a topper and they use the same line, right? उसने इतना पढ़ा, उसके इतना पढ़ा होता तो यार मैं भी टॉप कर जाता. And this is so wrong, right? Believe me, if that is the difference between most of the people, right? If you could have topped the exam, you would have, right? That's the only difference. People who can actually work hard and work smart, they will obviously be at the top always. And it's not that this is only in your college. Later also, you'd always look at somebody who is performing better than you, and you will say कि यार इतना अगर मेहनत किया होता तो यार इसके बराबर होता है, right? And then later in your career, you will say that यार कोई तुमसे, I mean, somebody would be at 2 3 times of your particular salary, and then you would again look at them and say, yeah, if I would have worked so hard, I could also get that much salary. And that's the problem, right? Do not console yourself by saying that I did not study, that's why I did not get so much of marks, right? Also always remember this particular thing, that I always say that and it's not just about hard work. If hard work was the only criteria to be successful, or get a better salary package or anything that you want in your career, laborers would be the richest people, right? They are the most hardworking people. But you also have to understand what you are trying to study. You have to focus, right? And you have to decide a specific path for yourself. Planning is very very important. If you are planning to get a good career in any particular area, or any particular industry, learn about that industry, right? Smartly, right? Connect people from that industry right from your college days. Connect with them, right? Ask them what they expect from somebody who's going to join their industry, and then focus on that. Hard work is good, but only when it is accompanied by smart and planned learning. So there are few advices now. I won't take a lot of time now because I want to focus on questions that you have from me, right? But this is my first advice, which is learn to create, right? Observe everything around you, and try to get ideas. Try to see the problems that you're facing. If you have, I believe that you during these lockdown times, a lot of you would be facing problems in your college, right? Your teachers would be facing a lot of problems. Try to create a small project, right? Create a small product that they could use, and give it to them, and see if they can actually ask or not. Be it assignment submission software, anything like that, right? And it's not very difficult to learn. You have to create all those things. Get practical knowledge, paid or unpaid, right? It doesn't really matter whether you are getting a paid internship or an unpaid internship. If you are getting a good internship, that is more than enough. A lot of the times, we judge an internship by the amount that they are going to pay. But we as employers, we know, what what we feel. We feel that if there's a low quality work, then we try to pay a higher internship, right? Because we know that a lot of people will apply. But if there's really good work, we don't want to pay a lot, right? Because for us, money also matters. And for interns, we also know that okay, we'll be giving them certificates. They will get to learn a lot, and we'll spend a lot more time, teaching them different stuffs, right? As an employer, that's why we don't want to pay really a lot for internships, which from where you can learn a lot. So go join any internship that you find which is of your domain, and go ahead with that. If the company is good, if the founders are good, if the team is good, if they have a good product, go and join as an intern, right? Whatever work they would be doing, you'll get to learn a lot, right? Third advice is build a beautiful resume, and this is for those people who are seeking a good job, right? And also learn to write a good cover letter. But build a beautiful resume. Do not copy paste stuff from anybody else. Do not use a simple template, right? Your resume should make an impact, right? I've written a lot of articles on this also on amigos.app, which is just Google Amigos app, and you'll find some blog section there, so you'll find it there as well. But your resume should mention a lot of stuff. A lot of people, if they do not score really good in their exams, they don't mention their marks, and that leaves a really bad impression. If I see a fresher's resume, and I see that they have not mentioned their 10th and 12th marks, I presume that the marks were really bad, and then I don't even call them. So you have to build a beautiful resume and include all the data there, which is really important, right? Focus on your academics, right? Clearly mention the year of passing, right, and the marks that you obtained, right? Skills that you know, and don't write stuff like I know Microsoft Word, right? Everybody knows that. Unless and don't write MS Excel, right? If you're an engineer, it's good for an MBA because they have a really good purpose for that. But for engineers, don't write stuff like I know Windows 10, I know Linux. It doesn't. Linux to an extent, command line commands that you have to remember. That's really important. But don't mention Windows and all those things. That these are just a waste of space. Don't write these stuffs. And also another good advice is that make really good friends, and this is very important for everybody to understand, because later in your career you will figure out that your friends were the ones who would refer you to really good jobs, right? Or you will refer them in your own company, and uh, build a better team, right? So connections are very good. If you want to make really good projects, you'll have to find friends who know stuffs, right? So from your college days, build a team, right? Get some friends who are good in a particular thing, and which is complementary to what you are good at, and try to build a bigger team around that, right? This will help you a lot in your career, right? Over time, if you want to become an entrepreneur, it will help then also. And if you are in a job, you'd still get a lot of help just because your friends were into some other college, so it will help you switch jobs also, right? Learn new technologies as much as you can. If you hear about anything new, try to learn. When I was in college, at that point of time, JavaScript was JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP, and all those things were quite hot. I was in 2006. I was in a batch of 2006 to 2010, and that's when these technologies were there, and I used to learn most of these things. I was one of the national level first. I won a first prize at a national level competition by Sun Microsystems, which was for web designing. Me and a friend of mine, both of us were a team, and we got the first prize. And that was not in our syllabus also at that point of time. We just, we're interested in these technologies, and I learned, right? So these are a few things. You can take a snapshot of this screen, right, and try to focus on that. Flutter is something. If you are into app development, do not go for no native as of now. Go for Flutter, which is a really great framework by Google. For Android, if you want to go for native, Kotlin is there, which is overtaking Java. iOS, Swift is already there. Front end technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? So Angular, React, and then backend Django is really great. It's a Python framework on which Instagram, Quora, all these things are built on. Right? Ruby on Rails is quite popular, not as much as Django, but yeah. So take a screenshot of these and try to learn. A lot of people would not even know what a MongoDB or Cassandra does, right? What Neo4j is, what OrientDB is, right? And that's what you have to learn, right? These are new things that most of the people do not know. If you know, you'll be at a very better position than others. At the end, interview is all about being better than the others, right? It's not about being the best. And another advice is that build simple but useful projects. The problem with engineering projects is that sometimes they are very complex and they're not very useful. Everybody builds a hotel management software, restaurant management software, or a college management software. Don't do that, right? Build something useful. Build something that a lot of people might use, right? Um there was a class at Stanford which gave a specific instruction to all the students to ask them to build. They asked the students to build a small product, right, which a lot of people would use. It could be as simple as as a single screen application, and there were a lot of people who built very small projects like back in 2005 6, which was about sending a specific notification to other, right. These were very small products, and these got downloaded a number of times. They were very small, a gifting application that they built on Facebook, which was gifting a virtual gift to somebody else, one of your friends, and then that app got downloads in lakhs and lakhs, got used by lakhs and lakhs of people, and these generated a lot of revenue. So do not try to build complex projects. Try to build useful and simple projects that you would yourself use, right? If you see a good product, try to create a replica of that. That is also fine, right? But try to create, right, and make sure that those products that you create are live, right? College projects are most of the time always remain in your resume. Do not do that. Try to make it live. Try to host it somewhere so that it is publicly accessible. When we get a resume and they mention 10 different projects and hardly one or two are live, it doesn't leave a very good impression on the interviewer, because it means that probably there's a high probability that the projects were not real, right? And we also know that because we have also done our engineering. So another thing is aptitude preparation that a lot of people ask me, that is that why do companies ask for aptitude? Why do they have an aptitude round? And it's mostly because first, it measures your intelligence. If you are intelligent enough, you would be good at aptitude because it's not tough, right? I mean, getting an RS Agrawal book or Arun Sharma book, going through the LOD1 of Arun Sharma, or the quantitative aptitude book, it's not very tough. These are very simple ones, and that is more than enough that they ask. That's the level. That's the exact level that these companies ask. So focus on aptitude. Learn. This is not very difficult, but if you're not good at aptitude, focus. Right. You just spend some time. It won't take you 15 to 20 days if you are dedicated towards improving your aptitude, right? Think everything from an employer's point of view, right? As an employer, if you were to hire somebody, what would you expect? Would you hire somebody who has got really good marks in their engineering college, right, in their semesters, or would you hire somebody who is just in his 70s or 80s, right? 70s probably, right? And then she or he has got a lot of good projects which are live, and the person can be immediately hired and can create products for them, right? Can become employable, can become productive right after joining. So obviously, big companies, Infosys, Wipro, they have a long training program, so they will probably go for people who they will try to hire people who are not very practical who do not have a lot of projects. But then there would be companies like Flipkart or any other good company, Intel, McAfee, any of these companies would look at your projects, right? And then are people who do not have really great marks but decent marks. 70 is a criteria that you should always have. Maintain your marks. People who do not score 70 in their career, they are not considered very good, just because that you have to learn to balance everything, right? You should be scoring decent, right? But you should always have a lot also have a lot of projects and practical experience. So take part in competitions. This is a great time. Do not hesitate. Please go and learn. Even if you fail, that's okay, right? That experience will help you a lot in your career. Go and present papers. Go and take part in online debate competitions. Right? I know if it's online, you can go ahead with that. We are trying to organize those also, and learn from webinars. Learn. There are a lot of Udemy courses available everywhere. There are a lot of YouTube courses available. Learn through that and take part in competitions, right? Competitive programming is something that a lot of people should be looking at. If you are from a non-CS background, talk to your seniors, and probably they will teach you about if you are from mechanical or any other background, right? They will teach you about 3D designing and all those stuffs that they have from in the mechanical background, or electronics. They will have circuit design also. Talk to these people. There are a lot of startups. Contact them who are working in electronics, and ask them for an unpaid internship, right? Just ask them that you are ready to work for free just to learn, and they will be happy to have you on board, and you'll get to learn a lot, right? And always remember, you have just one life. You can either waste it watching Netflix and playing PUBG, right? Which I know most of the people are doing, right? I also used to do, but there was a balance, right? During my time, we didn't have PUBG, but we had Counter Strike. Or and you can build something great, right? Spend your time on building something. That's what a real engineer is. And you know later in your life, you will always remember that people who scored really good would not be really high in their career, but people who really focus on learning would be in a much better shape, right? Also, at the end, I'll just say that before, and since I have mentioned all of these things, I'll tell you about what I have done in my life also, right? So that you understand what we have done. Right. So I run a company where I have built products for B2B businesses also, which is Vajiram IS is an app if you're preparing for UPSC, right? They are a customer and we build their app, which has got now 4.6 lakh. This is an older data. We have more than 5 lakh downloads now. And I am Bangalore's placement portal was also built by us. So it is being used throughout the campus to manage all on-campus jobs. And this is what I built while I was studying there. Uh, there are certain products. These are free, open source products that we built, not because we wanted to earn money. It's just that I built it because, and with my team, with my friends, because we just wanted to create something. It was nothing more than that. So we have testbot, which is again a free, though we are not updating that a lot. It's a free platform for placement preparation. Govjobata is another free platform for online mock tests for if you're preparing for government exams. And Bharat Scanner, which is in news right now, you might have heard about it a lot because we had been covered in papers like Aaj Tak, Jagran, Amar Ujala, Punjab Kesari, a lot of national level newspapers. So we got about 1.5 lakh downloads in under a month, and it's a replacement for Cam Scanner. It's still in development phase, but we created this app in just 5 days. Right, me and two other friends of mine, we started working on this, and on 1st of July, and we had released it on 5th of July this year. So these were my past products. So, the main product that I'm working on is Amigos, which is a student social network. If you're a student, go join this. Right, it will be really helpful because we list internships, events, scholarships, competitions, and placement mock tests on the same platform. This is an interface. It's similar to Facebook, but a lot more focused towards students. We have live quizzes happening every day as well. And now, I mean, feel free to ask me questions. Harsh, you can take over now, and if you have really good questions, feel free to send it to me. I'll try to answer. So ask me anything, whether it is your about your career or it is about something else, right? You can ask me about job. You can start me. You can ask me about starting a company while you are a student or after you graduate. How useful is that? But feel free to ask me anything, and you can connect me over LinkedIn also. Just search Prajjwal Sinha, and you should be able to find me there. Yes, Harsh.
Okay, so So everyone, those who have questions can just write down their questions in the comment section, and Mr. Prajjwal will answer those questions. Also, the workshops that we conduct online on every weekend are affiliated to IIT Kharagpur and Triple IT Allahabad. So if you are interested, you can just go to our website and check those. Also, if you are interested in filling the feedback form today, this is the password for today's feedback form. If you are filling the feedback form, please note this password down. It will help you to fill the feedback form. Okay, so we are having questions now.
Great.
Okay, so this is the first.
Um, I think I'm able to see some really interesting questions here.
Can you see the questions on your screen? I have highlighted it for you, or should I read it for you?
Um,
Hello.
yes. So yeah, I'm able to see this. Okay. So Geetika Gupta has asked, sir, how can I find good internship in my dream company? Getting please don't focus on good companies for internships. That's not very important, right? Focus on smaller companies. Try to learn, right? Dream company is good when you want to go for a job, and they will only hire you when you have practical knowledge. McAfee was my dream company. I wanted to get into that, or Cisco. These were really good dream companies for me. But I did not do internship from there. Right? I studied and I got into internship in a very small company, and then we built small projects. And then when I reached to the interview for these companies, they just asked me the products that I had built, and they hired me. So it's more about getting a job in a big company, get an internship in a small company, learn, and for job security, go for a bigger company. That will help you a lot more, right? Otherwise, there are a lot of, and references also work. If you know somebody in good companies, talk to them, message them on LinkedIn, create your account on LinkedIn, right? Talk to them, message them, and that you want an internship, but make sure that you have relevant qualifications before you send them any message. Right? So yes, Harsh. I hope this would have answered your question. Yeah, Abhishek Gaur has asked, if you want to learn Android but willing to go into web designing, will it be useful? Should one learn it? See, web designing is something that almost everybody should know, right? I love web designing. I love HTML5, CSS3 development. You can connect with me. I'll tell you a lot of good books also. But if you are into Android is also very good. See, app development is the future. I think portable applications will be the future about 4 5 years later. People would not want to install, but access applications without downloading, similar to web applications, but those would be a little faster than that. And web designing is quite easy. I don't think you'll need more than 5 days to learn. So any given day, start learning that, build a good website. If you are able to build a beautiful website, right, go through a lot of templates that are available online, try to replicate that without looking at the code. And then once you are able to create those websites, apply to good companies, and you will get a good job in web designing also. And if you're good at Android, make sure that you focus there, and you get into web designing later, and just try to learn web designing, because if you compare the salaries of both the domains, you'll always see that web designers do not earn as much as Android developers, because these are designers, not developers. If you later become a UI UX developer, right, then probably there are a lot of scope, but then designing specifically does not give you a lot of salary, right? So you'll have to focus on that, right? Tarandeep Singh, any suggestions for online competitive coding competitions? Like, I mean, everybody know Hacker and Hacker Earth, Code Chef, right? So focus on any of these. Lead Code is also there. So pick any one or two of these, and go deep into them. It is always about going deep. Try to solve as many questions as you can. Try to rank higher on those platforms. These are really good platforms, and all of these are really good platforms. And I won't say that there's any one that is good. Lead Code is something that I'll say that it is of an international level, so you can focus there also. Yes. Ayushi Jha, sir, in this pandemic situation, how can a student from an average college get a good job? See, I was also from a very average college. I was not into a really great college, right? But off campus is not about getting a job in an off campus interview is not very it doesn't really matter which college you are from. If you are good enough, you'll get a good job. So One good way is that get an internship in companies, small companies, not big companies, in decent companies, and then perform really well there, right? Whatever work they give you, perform really well. And if the internship is for about 2 3 months long, right, they will want to hire you, right? They will not go and try to hire somebody else. They will in fact try to absorb you, because if they have identified that you are a good candidate, they will people like us, we don't try to hire people as freshers. We instead we hire them as interns, and if they are really good, we try to absorb them and give them the decent salary that is in the market. So that's what a lot of companies do. Bigger companies, it is going to get difficult. I mean, there are a lot of off-campus platforms, but it gets really difficult. Mostly these are through referrals or the notifications that you find on different platforms. We also list some opportunities on Amigos app, so you can see from there as well. So yeah, yes, Harsh. Um, Sonak Nandi, sir, which is better, machine learning or data science? See, I don't think that we should compare any of different stuffs like that. Data science gets is about managing a lot of data. Machine learning is about using a lot of data to build something, to train your models and getting your work done. So um, though I would say that there are a lot of innovative projects in ML, right? It is considered a lot more innovative. Data science is all about when you have a lot of data, and is used mostly in big companies, but small companies also use data science. But machine learning is something that I would advise. And if you were to ask me, AIML is really great. Focus on that. Everything in the future will be built on that AIML. We are going to reduce all the manual work. Even we do that, right? We have a particular feature in Amigos app where you have to hold your ID card to get verified, and we have written an algorithm for that, right? One of the students, in fact, from NIT Jalandhar, Siddhi Jan and her friends actually built this project for us, where when you hold an ID card in your hand, we detect that and we match that and say that, okay, this is a valid ID card or not, right? So interesting projects, really really like projects. So yes, this reduces manual work also, so we focus on that. Yes, Harsh, next. We can take as many questions as we can, right? Because I understand that students have a lot of doubt. So a few more thoughts from you on data science, ML. I think I just shared that that these things are going to be the future, as in when the data increases in the market, every single thing that you are doing is being tracked, by most of these big companies. So they're getting a lot of data and at the end they want to convert that data into something which will be useful for them. So that's why all these things are very important. AIML is the future. Everything is every manual work, every repetitive work will get replaced by AIML, right? At a later point of time. So just I think that's all that I have to say about that. Yeah, see Sabhi Tech, right? Sir, is certification matter? Does certification matter during an interview and for placements? Yes, it matters a lot. If you are in, let's say, OCJP, and you are applying for a Java interview, right? A job on Java, they will obviously say that, okay, they will obviously prefer you because you would have a lot more knowledge than others. Certification doesn't matter whether, I have seen people who have had CCNA certification. When I used to interview people at McAfee, I've seen people who had certification, CCNA certification, which is Cisco Certified Network Associate, and they did not even they could not even explain the 7 layers properly. So sometimes it helps you when you have good knowledge, right? If you add your certification in your resume, it will help you. But if you do not have good knowledge, do not add your resume there, because then people will focus only on that and try to dig whether, because everybody knows, every interviewer knows that there are a lot of fake certifications also, right? You can pay 50 20,000 and get any certification done, right? So people understand that, so they will try to figure out whether you really are, whether you really prepared for those exams and got the certification on your merit or not. And this is with every single thing that you mention on your resume. So but if you have good knowledge, this will help you a lot. People who have CCNA certifications get preferred in companies like McAfee, Intel, on all those Cisco, any other companies, right? Apart from your other stuffs, right? If there are two candidates, one both of them are at the same level during the interview, one has certification, one doesn't have, then the person with certification will get get selected. So this is mostly a tiebreaker for people. Yes. Tarandeep Singh, oh, second question. So, what are your thoughts about off-campus placements? How to get those? Is the preparation for off-campus any different? Preparation is, yeah. Before that, I'll just go through the thoughts about off-campus. Off-campus placements. Um, it is a little difficult. So when I was in my college days, I got placed in three companies from on campus and other two from off campus, right? But mostly these were referrals where my seniors were working and they said that okay, there's a placement drive. It is more about getting to know about those drives, which is a lot more important than clearing it, because after that, if you are good at it, you'll be able to clear. So Huawei was one company where I had appeared, and McAfee was another one. So it is more about knowledge. Preparation is not very different because you don't have to prepare for a placement specifically. Obviously, there are mock tests that you have to prepare for. TCS, Infosys, we probably, I mean, all these big companies, you can find these placement mocks on our app also, Amigos app. Just download it. But for bigger companies, better companies, these things won't work. Data structures, core subject knowledge is also very important. Intel will screw you on your core subjects. McAfee will screw you on and dig you on any of these core subjects that you have. So preparation is almost same. It depends on the kind of company, right? TCS on campus and off campus interviews are always same. There's no difference at all. So I don't think that's very relevant. Preparation is always done for knowledge, right? So yes, Tarandeep. What is the main role of engineering subject in an engineering life? Pankaj, I could not understand this properly, but engineering subjects, if you are specifically saying that all the importance of all the subjects, they're very relevant, very important. For example, there are a lot of concepts that I learned when in operating systems, right, which I used to create another software, right? So how do you prioritize tasks? CPU scheduling is something that I learned, and that's how we, even nowadays when we try to prioritize something, we always go through that and we said, okay, there was a round robin algorithm, which is again a linear, going through that, or prioritizing based on the severity or the priority of a specific task. So we use that for weightage, and there's a lot of importance for engineering subjects. Networking is very important because later in your career, when you look at different products, you'll understand the importance of those, right? We have live platforms like Zoom and let's say that StreamYard or YouTube Live, right? But do you know that it works on something called WebRTC, right? Which is again live transfer of data from server to these things, and these all things are somewhere mentioned in your networking book, right? So you have to understand these things, and I won't say that all the subjects are important. It depends on which career you choose, right? For example, there was a chapter book subject called computer organization, which was really tough and I did not understand a lot. But then people who are into core industries, they know that how important those technologies are. Computer networks was something that I was very interested in, and there were others who did not like computer networks, but I joined McAfee and then realized the importance of computer networks. So it all depends on which career you end up into. So yes. It doesn't matter. Exploring India has asked, how do I get a job if I have an year gap? It doesn't really matter. Again, when you go for an interview, the only companies like, on-campus companies like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, Accenture, all these, mass recruiters might look at these things. Any other company will not value these things. If you appear in an interview and you are good, it doesn't matter whether you had a year gap or a 2 year gap. I have known people who had 3 years of gap and they were still able to clear very good companies in during my time. One got into Microsoft and he had 3 years of gap. So it doesn't really matter. What matters is how much knowledge you have right now at that point of time. So most of the time, year gap is associated with people who could not crack an interview in their an exam in the first attempt. But then who does? Right? Any good engineering college that you get into, most of them would have dropped an year. So it won't matter. Don't worry about this. Focus on learning a lot. Create small projects. Make it live. Create an app on Flutter or Android or iOS. Make it live. Showcase these things while you go for an interview, and you'll get a good decent placement. So that's not very important. And yes, what people are one of the question was that how do you get off-campus jobs? This is very important. Create projects. Make it live. Include them on your resume. Right. Send it to them. or if not, let the breakdown, open, let the lockdown just close, right? And after that, visit the companies directly, right? What I believe that if somebody knew my office's address, and that person was good, and that person would have approached me in my office and would have shown a really good resume, I'll probably think about it and try to hire that person. So it doesn't really matter how you approach people. If you are good, you will get hired, right? Talk to people on LinkedIn, all those things, right? But I mean, if you have good knowledge, you have good practical experience, you will get a job. Theoretical experience will not work a lot except from the big companies. Yeah. Next question was from Devnath. Amrita Devnath. What is the five key skill to get a good internship as a fresher for EC? This seems to be right out of college papers, but I don't know any five key skills. Right, I cannot count them like that. And good internship as a fresher for EC department. I do have some people. I mean, a friend of mine has just messaged me in the afternoon. Aditya Raj, he's outside India, he's in Europe, so he's looking for some interns who can do chip designing, and if you have anything like that, feel free to contact me. I'll probably refer you to them. But if you have good sound knowledge in your own core subjects, you'll get a good job. Just learn what practical things are to be done in your EC department. I don't know a lot about EC, but I know people. I have worked with people who can create applications, who can create chips. So yes, a lot of good companies are there. A lot of handheld devices are being produced nowadays in India. So you'll get a lot of good jobs like that. But I'm not very clear about that. Try to approach people who are working in those companies and ask them directly. Yes, Harsh. What is the main activity for an interview? Main activity for an interview? I could not
Yes, he
understand
wants
this
to
question.
ask.
Harsh, can you explain me this?
I guess he wants to ask. Yes, I guess he wants to ask that what are the activities that are conducted during an interview? Like
During
what is the procedure that when you go to an interview?
procedure, see,
Yes.
there's a lot of different rounds, right? First is an aptitude round. Before that, also there's a resume selection round, right, where they will look at a good resume. Then you will be called for an, over a telephone. You'll have a telephonic round, and then you'll be called probably for an face-to-face interview. You might have group discussions also if the company is good, or company is big, not good, but big, and there are a lot of candidates. Then technical interviews, again, they focus on what programming. All those rounds are always there, right? And then you have an HR interview, which is very very important, because they look at your attitude, not your technical knowledge. If you are a team worker, and they understand that you'll be able to gel well with the whole team, they will hire you. So yes, so there are these simple rounds that you have. That's it. So Avanti Kamal has asked, "Hello, sir. So choosing the tech as Flutter developer is a good decision." Absolutely. A very good friend of mine, Harshit Kohli, is a Flutter developer. Right. I mean, he's at a senior position, but he still is learning Flutter, and he heads a team in a company. So what I have come to know, in fact, from these platforms, that see, there are three contenders for cross-platform. One is Flutter, the second was React Native, and third was Ionic. Ionic was well overtaken by React.js, React Native a few years ago, and then Flutter is a new entry. I think it came into the market in May 2019 or 18, right? And after that, since Flutter is supported by Google, the performance and the speed of development and improvement in Flutter would be far better than any other platform like this. So choose Flutter; it's really great, and there are a lot of good resources, organized resources for Flutter available online. So there's a channel called the Flutter Way, which is really good, that I really like. They focus on designing an application, so you'll get to learn a lot about designing there. And then there are certain courses on YouTube which you'll find free of cost. Learn Flutter from that. I think you should be able to learn really good from there. So yes, but yes, Flutter is much better than React Native. That's that's my choice. So Divya Chaurasia has asked, since I want to make projects but I'm unable to think what to make, please give some examples of the projects for an electronics engineer. For electronics engineer, see, I had a small idea way back where So what if grocery refilling is something which is important, right? If you have design a container which will measure how much item is remaining in that container, right, in your kitchen, and that app, and it will be connecting to an app, right, where the moment the weight of that particular box goes below a certain amount, it will throw a notification on your app, or send a message through a WhatsApp API, or inform in some other way, or send a message which is a simple way to you that you can get it refilled. So these are small projects which are innovative, which is interesting, and you can get those done. Or trying to make your home automated without having those expensive uh, devices. So there could be a new, let's say, an add-on which you can place on your switchboard, and that can be controlled through your mobile application, right? So this will be mechanical plus electronic. It will but that will basically switch on or off a particular switch using a roller, based on what you touch on your Android app or any other app. So these are small things. We'll have to figure out the details of these, but yeah, these are the things that I felt were important, that you can actually create. So a need that I felt. Yes. Neha Bakshi has asked, I'm looking for a job. What is important for a person to keep in mind while searching for a job in this pandemic? Focus on, building projects. Do not actually, right now, if you're not getting good jobs, don't worry about the jobs. Focus for the next 6 months, create 5 or 6 projects in any domain that you are interested in. Do not care or do not worry about what the industry wants, right? A lot. Just focus on a few things which everybody knows that there's a good demand. For example, be it Android development, be it web development, be it backend development, be it chip designing, any of these things, and create your own projects. And find out these small projects. If you are able to see something online also, right, try to replicate and then add something small onto it, right? It doesn't have to be really different from everything else, but people would hire you if you know your work, right? They will have their own ideas and they will ask you to implement those ideas. So create good projects. That's it. At the end, you will get a good job. Not right now, probably 6 months later. And there are these people who have good knowledge. Move way faster than others who do not have good knowledge in their career. Right? There are people who join at 2 lakhs. I have had a friend named Vikas. He got an 8,000 rupee job when all of us had got 30-40 thousands of job, right, a salary of job. And then he, within the next 2 years, he was equal to what we were earning, and then he moved past us also, right, in small companies, right? So people who were in bigger companies, they could not get really good salary later, but then this guy, because that person focused a lot on learning, they got a much better job, these people. So yeah, it doesn't really matter where you start. What matters is at the end of 2 years, your first 2 years will define your career. Always remember that. So focus on learning, creating projects, and you'll be in a much better position later. Judge yourself only after 2 years, not before that. Before that, you could be earning about 3,000 rupee a month. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Adbhut, what is that? So Adbhut Chogle, while joining the job after engineering, what kind of certification you were holding during those days? So see, mostly it was related to networking, and my focus again was not on getting certification. I studied for CCNA. I did not appear for the exam. Right, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Right, I studied Java. I did not appear for that. Back in my days, in 2010, 11, I was studying Python. There was no certification. I don't think there's any as of now also. But it was not more about certification. It was more about how much I knew, and how much practical projects I had. So during my first job also, I had a website called Placement Yogi, which was again a free platform for to help students, which was live, and my focus was a lot more there. So certification is okay, it's good, but it's only when you enter a job and your job demands it. Go ahead with that. Yeah, when once you join a job, try to get relevant certificates from your own career, because later it might help. So um, if you are into web development, right, I don't think there could be some certification from Google for Angular or React, or React certification from some other organization. So get those, but that won't matter a lot. If you are into networking domain, then CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, CH, all those things are obviously important. Yes. Pratyush Srivastav, sir, please elaborate about the opportunities for freshers in machine learning. I'm in third year and working on ML, but some of the people told me that there are not much opportunities in ML for freshers. See, you'll have to contact the companies who are working on these technologies, right? There are a lot of good opportunities. I don't know who has told you about that, but if you are good, there are a lot of good companies who will want to hire people who are, who have good knowledge, who have sound knowledge. People who have mediocre knowledge, they won't get opportunity in any field, right? So especially in these times. So I think any startup which is into B2C side or B2B, they will be they will definitely have ML opportunities. But create some projects, right? Make sure that you have relevant projects and apply to them with your project, with your knowledge, and they just say that okay, be ready to work at a lower salary. Just, and this is just my advice, because if I were to join any company when I had just graduated, I would have gone for about 15,000 also, and that was not an issue for me. I wanted to learn. Money was never important. So yes.
Sir, we are having a lot of questions. How many more questions can we take?
Um, let's see. Let's fix the time about 5 or 10 more minutes. Right till five.
Let's take five
Five.
more. Let's take
Yes.
five more questions.
Yes. Let's pick up 5 more questions. Oh, okay. Flutter is a framework which helps you build cross-platform development. A cross-platform, basically cross-platform applications for Android as well as iOS at the same time, right? Through the same code base. So that's the technology, and what it means is done. And how to develop app is, just have an idea or see any other product and create a replica of that. You create 4 or 5 replica, and you will understand how it works, and then you create something new. So that is it. Just a Google about Flutter and you will understand. Sunil, please suggest some company for mechanical engineering to get job easily. It's very difficult for me to discuss about mechanical sector, you know because generally mechanical people hire they do not have a lot of opportunities. But then um, again, if you would have participated in robotics competitions, you would have participated in any other competitions for that, right? A lot of companies might be interested. Companies like Volvo are really good. General Steel is very good. A couple of friends are there. ET Masters is another company which is outside India, but a lot of friends from my college days are there. So yes, I think you'll have to find these. I don't really know. I mean, I don't want to suggest something that I don't really know about. Okay, Rashi Jan has asked, I'm an engineering student and during this pandemic, I have no idea how to get internship. Can you please suggest some tips? Um, First thing is that if your resume is good enough, please download the Amigos app, apply for internships. We are connected with at least 400, 500 companies, right? Most of the people are, people who I'm connected through my IM groups who are running their companies. So they hire interns a lot of interns. So these will be listed on Amigos app. So just go there. Internship is also very good. I mean, obviously that's a much bigger platform, but then the chances of getting calls from there is slightly less because there are a lot of applications. So yeah, please suggest some platforms for learning IoT. I'm not the right person for this. I'm not the right person to ask this question because um, no, I cannot. I know very little about IoT, so I can't. How do you, yes, this is a very interesting question. Himanshu Gulati has asked, how do you think this pandemic will affect um, job seekers and freshers? You, I think, though, I think just a few days ago, I had shared two news about TCS and Infosys hiring. So both of them are hiring, the same way as they were hiring last year. TCS is going to hire 40,000 freshers, and Infosys is going to hire 20,000 freshers. So probably big companies will hire again, though they will defer the joining dates, which means that effectively they will hire this year and they will give you joining date next year, probably by mid of June, July, right, when the market gets a little better. But what I believe is that the moment this a vaccine comes out, the market will jump back, and will be a lot better than it was earlier. At least it will stay like that for the next 2 years. So and yes, job seekers right now it is very difficult. So internship is one of the good ways to get a job, and then focus on learning. Focus, if you are planning for higher studies, this is a really great time to prepare for higher studies, but also understand that the competition will be really tough this time, right? So but yes, it is going to affect really bad the job seekers, because small companies won't hire a lot. We are not hiring a lot, right? We had a lot of plans, but then it becomes very difficult for us to interview people also, unless you do not meet somebody face to face. We don't have that connect. So that is something that helps me. Trust is something very important that you see from the body language of a person when you meet them on face to face. So there are a lot of other things that is restricting the new hirings in small companies. And big companies probably, I think they will still hire. Yeah, can you please suggest some tips which makes you a better engineer? I think the whole presentation was about that. So just go through the application. I think if it is live on YouTube, you can always go back and watch it again. But then, yes, the only thing is that I'll say is that an engineer is somebody who knows to create something, right? If you see a problem, even if there is an existing solution, just try to create something of your own, right? So we developed Bharat Scanner not because there were no other applications. We created Bharat Scanner because Cam Scanner was banned, and there were other applications which were not really good enough. And we felt that if I have to use that particular software, why not create our own, right? So we created something of our own in just 5 days. So yes, so that's enough.
Okay, Prajwal, let's just end the question and answer round. It was a really interactive session, and it was a really great session for everyone, considering the amount of questions we are receiving. So let's just very quickly take our feedback from everyone. So everyone, how do you like the session? Just write it down in the comment section so we can get a feedback.
Right, and feel free to connect me. If you have more questions, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn. Right, I think you should be able to find me by Prajjwal Sinha. If you search on Prajjwal Sinha Amigos, you should be able to find me. But feel free to ask questions. Right, and fill the form as Harsh is asking.
And also, if you want to connect with Mr. Prajwal, you can go to our website. There's the link of his LinkedIn account. You can just connect from him.
Great. Yes, great.
All now, say we are getting a feedback. Okay, great session, nice, informative, superb, awesome, nice. We are getting so many positive feedbacks.
Thanks.
Nice session. Okay, so there are so many positive feedbacks.
Great.
So thank you so much, Prajwal, for coming for the session today. This is a very small gesture from Let's Talk for coming for our Let's Talk webinar. This is a certificate of recognition for you. This will be
Thanks.
mailed to you or sent to you over WhatsApp.
Great,
And
great.
it was a really informative session for everyone. I guess all the engineers who all are watching today would have been get gotten some more tips how to improve their skills during these pandemic times.
Right. Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody for listening. Catch you later. Okay then.
Or, yeah,
Should we?
if you want, you can leave the session. I'll just take it away from you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm closing this now. Thanks a lot,
Thank you
everybody.
so much.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, so everyone, let me. These are the upcoming talks that we are having on Thursday and Saturday. On Thursday, we have Mr. Mahavir Sharma, who is chairman of TIE Global Board of Trustees. He will be talking about how to raise funds for your startup. And on Saturday, we have Ms. Meera Srivastava, who is the vice president of marketing at Shalimar Paints. She will be talking about how about the jobs and career in the field of marketing after college. So if you are interested in these webinars, please register for these webinars and do not miss these webinars. Let me just very quickly tell you about what is our company, what After College is offering. First of all, we are offering a mentor LED online training program. These programs are available on our website. So if you are interested, you can just go to our website whataftercollege.com and check it out. Also, you can call the number below if you want to information regarding these programs. These programs have already been conducted for more than 500 students this summer. Also, we are offering Microsoft recorded programs. These programs are just for 999 rupees. You will also get a Microsoft certificate after finishing these programs. So, if you are interested in these programs, call on the number below, or you can go to our website and check these out. Also, we are conducting What After College online workshops. We conduct these workshops every weekend, and these workshops are affiliated to colleges like Triple IT, Allahabad, and IIT Kharagpur, and or many other colleges, many other esteemed colleges. Also, the workshops that are conducted in the field of artificial intelligence, ethical hacking, 3D printing, IoT, Android development, robotics, digital marketing, automobile, and IC engine. So if you are interested in these workshops, you can just go to shop.whataftercollege.com. You can pay for these online workshop series, and you can get these workshops that we conduct every weekend. The fees for a workshop, online workshop that we conduct every weekend is 300 to 400 rupees. But you can also get a 50% discount on these workshops. How you can get this discount is after filling the certain feedback form for today's webinar, you will get this certificate. Uh, you have to share this certificate on your Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook account. You have to tag What After College in that post and send us the link and screenshot of that post at the email ID mentioned below. After doing this, you will get a discount voucher of 50% discount on these online workshops. So if you really want this 50% discount on these workshops, please fill the feedback form. I'll share the link of the feedback form after this PPT, and you will get the certificate by the end of the day. Also, we have a campus ambassador program. You can be a campus ambassador with What After College. In this campus ambassador program, you will get a campus ambassador certificate. You can build your network among industry leaders, and you can also build a professional LinkedIn profile of your own. If you are interested, just text me on the number below if you want to be a campus ambassador with us. Now I'll just share the feedback form, the link of the feedback form. So if you are interested, please fill the feedback form. I have shared the link of the feedback form in the comment section. All those who want the certificate for today's webinar, please fill the feedback form. The feedback form is open for another 5 minutes only.